Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri 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 Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, oh 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Start on it. Shri Ram Jai. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. I have to bring water, I bring water. Just one, Kanhangad is not well. Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram.
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. 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 Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. 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 Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. 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 Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. 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 Today evening they'll remove it after 5:10. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai.
അത് എനിക്ക് സമ്മതം മെസ്സേജ്
Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram. It's okay, we can take it. ಇಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ
വേണ്ട അപ്പോൾ കുടിച്ചു ഇപ്പോൾ കുടിച്ചു ഞാൻ അയ്യോ ടോക്കിംഗ്
ശ്രീരാം ജയ രാം ജയ ജയ രാം ശ്രീരാം ജയ രാം ഓം ശ്രീരാം ജയ രാം ജയ ജയ Ram Swamiji. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
This is Anna, Swamiji. Which is on to this Swamiji.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. 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 Shri Ram Jai
No, good. You are sure here is there?
Mandir is coming.
How many mandir is there?
We don't know where to choose.
Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri 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 Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
Where?
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. 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 Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri 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 Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Today, what do you want us to share with you? Can you get the Shrikrishna Leela? Yesterday, we all celebrated the Gokulashtami, what do you call Krishna Jayanti. Nobody asked anything about it. In fact, there was a program from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock.
We joined it.
They joined it since.
But we also forgot to bring
Yes.
the dimension.
Dimension went wrong.
We have chanted for some time, heard some music, but something more deeper, the Krishna consciousness, about which we also, somehow Krishna wanted to not to disturb yesterday's program. So today, just now when we came, he said, "Did you say anything about what I said?" So day before yesterday, when the local people organized the Ashtami day, lot of children dressed in Krishna's form, they came here. We had to go in between our Google Meet. But even at that time, he gave us this. We should take up Shrikrishna Leela tomorrow. But somehow our concentration was on his works. Strangely, for the past 3-4 days, Krishna did not allow us to go anywhere except certain slogas in Bhagavad Gita. So we connect up everything now. So not that we specifically mentioned this or connected this, but he made us to dwell. Some of his wisdom teachings which can be straight away implemented in our, or which can be tried to integrate with our daily life. Like, samatvam yoga muchyate, yoga karma sukaushalam, swalpamapyasya dharmasya, these are, so all these things, yesterday and day for yesterday, he made us to remember intensely. And whenever we do anything sincerely in the spiritual direction, nothing will go in vain. Just like when we get a site, we start our construction of the house, but we have exhausted our funds, so we could only just finish the basement and foundation basement. Then again we try to get some money and then build up the structure. Again it gets halted. Again God makes us to mobilize, and finally the building is up. But though it would have taken 2, 3 or 3, 4 years, nothing has gone in vain. Similarly, when we are trying to build up our spiritual life, build up our spiritual life means becoming aware of the spirit in us. It is not outside. We have been transacting with the world outside from the me and mind level, the body, mind, intellect level. So whenever God gives us an opportunity to know that He is there behind this, and whatever we do on that direction, it will not go in vain. It is a great assurance for us. Nothing will go in vain. So that He made us to dwell exhaustively for the past 2-3 days. There is no waste of unfinished attempt, nor is there production of contrary results. Even a little of this dharma protects one from great fear. Character development is always cumulative. You do something, you build up character, then you have other things to do, then you forget all about it, come back again, restart it. That is the meaning of this wonderful sloga. Neha abhikrama nasosti pratyavayona vidyate. There is no evil resulting from some mistake in the action. Then comes a tremendous assurance, svalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even a little of this dharma, this philosophy, will save us from great fear. Character development is not just a matter of one day. You go on doing it, slowly building up. Build up a greater character, strong character. It takes time. So He made us to dwell on His thoughts. But still, today he gave us the feeling that we have not directly talked about him. So many a time we have read it, but this particular one comes back again, the cosmic play of Lord Krishna. No? We will just read and mentally bring in our mind the charming figure and the power behind bringing the charming figure. Apparently there are two, but there is only one. In our mind, we are bringing the charming, attractive figure of Lord Krishna. But for that, the spirit should be there, you know. So the spirit is which is without name and form. It is also capable of bringing name and form. Think about it. I bow to the playful form of that child who has incarnated himself to fulfill the cosmic purpose and who, though completely uninvolved, gives the appearance of being totally involved. Though completely uninvolved, gives the appearance of being totally involved in the dance drama of his own creation. Why does the Brahman, the immutable, the eternal, the ineffable, manifest himself? Why should he come? Why should he make many? And why should he make us unaware of it? Why and how does the non-dual become dual? Advaita claims that duality is only an illusion. All is Maya, Brahman alone exists. That alone is Nitya, all else is Mithya. Once that is realized, the world of dualities will cease to exist. The Puranas, however, give a sweeter explanation. Lord Narayana is the Supreme Person, equivalent to Brahman. And this creation is his Leela, his play, the cosmic game. He is pictured as lying on a serpent couch, with his consort Lakshmi sitting at his feet, with eyes half closed, immersed in bliss. From this abode of peace, he decides to incarnate himself in order to enjoy his own creation. He takes on many incarnations, but his incarnation as Krishna is the exciting climax. A burst of joyful laughter, as it were, exploring the frailties and beauties of his own creation, admiring its grandeur, plumbing the heights and depth of its meaning, sometimes flouting his own laws, sometimes obeying, for he is the Purushottama, the Supreme Being, who possesses both the immutable unity and the mobile multiplicity. See the language, you know. Sometimes flouting his own laws, sometimes obeying, because he is the Purushottama, the Supreme Being, who possesses both the immutable unity and the mobile multiplicity. Lord Narayana is Satchit Ananda, existence, knowledge, bliss, and his incarnation as Krishna is the expression of his Ananda, or bliss. Because of it, all creation is possible. We remember Puja Swami's Chinmayananda was once talking to us on similar occasion. There, what he said, is very, very fresh in our mind. The moment you think about Lord Krishna, only joy comes everywhere. Everywhere the playful Krishna. Any song, yesterday also you must have heard. Enna tavam sheideno, what all songs, just think. It's playful things. But he as a person, suppose we take him as a person, He had a tragic life. Swamiji used to elaborately express. He was born in a prison, to be a prisoner, and stealthily he had to go elsewhere. And he had to leave his blood mother and take shelter under a foster mother. And when he went there, so many troubles by Kamsa. He sent so many asuras, Pudana, and then somehow he started growing, and then ultimately he became of marriageable age. So he wanted to settle down with his family. He had to abduct his wife, not in the usual way. And he was about to settle down with the family life. Call came from Pandavas to come here. And then he had to bear all insults. He was employed as a driver. And then finally, when the war was over, he was crushed by Gandhari. That like I lost my children, you will also entirely lose your people. And then from there he goes, he finds his Vrishni clan fighting each other, and finally he was shot by a hunter. So if you look at him as a person, right from the birth till the death, it was a series of tragedy. But what he gave to the world was bliss, bliss and bliss. Something, for all of us to ponder over. Whatever may be our individual suffering, what comes out of us should not be detrimental to the interest of others. So here he says, Krishna is the expression of his ananda or bliss. Because of it, all creation is possible. Because of his play, his delight, his sweetness, Krishna is the incarnate divinity of love. He is the essence of the love of the divine, for the divine. For the Jiva also is divine. And only the divine is capable of loving the divine with a love that is also divine. Krishna is the supreme, eternal, infinite, immortal, self-play, self-issuing, self-manifesting, self-finding. All these have got tremendous meaning. Self-play, self-issuing, self-manifesting, self-finding. The blue boy of Vrindavan is the Lord descended into the world play from the divine Ananda. The call of his flute seeks to transform the lower, ignorant drama of mortal life into the divine Ananda. Those who are deaf to this enchanting call of love may be forced to listen to the crack of the whip at Kurukshetra, but to the seer, that is only another aspect of his love. If he appears to break the established human molds, it is only in order to create a new mold from higher planes. And for this, he has to shock the sleeping mind of the humanity in order to change, liberate, divinize it. He is perfect love, perfect beauty, giving rise to perfect delight, the complete revelation of Satchit Ananda in a mortal flame. If this is Krishna, then what about the Jivas? Why and how did they manifest? Are they not divine, therefore part of the game? Why then do they not realize that it is a game? This is very important for all of us. Why does the beggar not realize that he is in truth the divinity clothed in tatters? The Puranas declare that the whole of life is indeed the Leela of the Lord, in which he himself is the hero and the villain, the actor and the audience, the director and the producer, the song and silence, even the very stage on which the drama is enacted. Once again we will read, we will try to remember. It's very important. The Puranas declare that the whole of life is indeed the Leela of the Lord, in which he himself is the hero and the villain, the actor and the audience, the director and the producer, the song and the silence, and even the very stage. In Kerala, there is a great saint called Narayana Guru. In a simple Malayalam word, he has beautifully brought it out. Niyallo Srishtiyum Srishtavayadum Srishtijalavum Srishtikkulla Samagriyayadum. Everything is you only, same thing. He himself is the hero and the villain, the actor, the audience, the director, the producer, the song and the silence, and even the very stage on which the drama is enacted. It is by a large mobilization of his prakriti, his energy, his will, his power, that he manifests himself in all this multiplicity. But then the question arises as to why he allows himself to be caught in the web of his own creation. When I am passing through the trying moments, I cry, I seek help, whereas he is the one who is within me, whom I should seek, who will take care. But why, the question comes. Why he allows himself to get caught in the web of his own creation? Can the spider be trapped in its own web? The explanation is simple. The best actors are those who can completely immerse their private lives in the cosmic drama. The supreme actor has to forget his true nature, allow himself to be caught in the web of his own Maya, if he is to completely and satisfyingly enact the different roles. He becomes the king on the throne, and the beggar in the street, the murderer about to be hung, and the victim lying in a pool of blood, as well as the judge pronouncing judgment in the court. He is the solo actor, solo enjoyer, the only experiencer, oblivious of his divine origin, submerged in the role. He is playing, laughing, crying, dancing, singing, living, and dying. The Avatara comes in order to free the Jiva from this complicated web of divine origin and enable it to realize its own nature. Fortunate are those who happen to catch the lilting strains of his own sweet music emanating from his magic flute. For them, the mundane world ceases to charm, and like the gopis of Vrindavan, they run in rapture to that enchanter in the forest, forgetting everything, spellbound by the form of that Lord of love and beauty, Shyama Sundara Manamohana Vanamali. Advaita seeks for the indefinable existence beyond personalities, but the devotee of Krishna sees in him the indefinable personality. By adoring him, by union with him, the Jiva can come to enjoy his own divine status. This is the promise made by him to Uddhava and Arjuna. Only then does the beggar realize that he was in truth the king who had taken the role of the mendicant. Then the cosmic drama comes to a close, the curtain falls, the actor, director, audience remains in blissful, enraptured consciousness of himself as Sat, Chit, Ananda. This is the cosmic play, the play of God, inexplicable, tantalizing, adorable. Samarpanam at the lotus feet of Vanamali, the producer and director and the sole actor of the whole drama. Some idea, on the auspicious occasion of this great avatar. Normally it is termed as Purnavatar. So at least we get a glimpse, not merely singing his glories. It also helps. But at the same time, he, through those songs, through those compositions, the Bhaktotamas who have composed it, place before us their deeper insight, where they become aware of that consciousness, that reality. which is behind the name and form, and at the same time adore the name and form, and get themselves connected with both the nameless and the name, both the formless and the form. So this was what yesterday we saw. So today let us try to keep it up. Spiritual journey is only a comma, never a full stop. So if he has not made us to remember yesterday these words, today he thought that we should dwell on this aspect also. Anything else? All are in deep mauna.
Swamiji, she says, he's the only experiencer. Means what?
Only
Swami
he.
has led everybody to fullness.
Huh?
All are having fullness.
Oh, very good, very good. Then there is no need for satsang.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Hari Om.
The question came here, the only experiencer. We feel we are separate. That is why we all feel we are separate. That is why we see different experiencers. But the one principle lying behind every creation is one and the same. So that is why he said he is the only experiencer, experiencing through his various creation. Apparently, it looks like various experiencers, but ultimately, at the dynamic level, he is various experiencer. At the static level, he is free from all experience. Even when we experience something, joy or pain, if we can detach ourselves by practice, we will find the witness consciousness is free from that experience, though apparently the experiencer is there. So we can call him as the only experiencer. Anything else? When Papa was in Vrindavan, that last line is very touching. Vrindavan is a very delightful place. Here the same Jamuna flows in all her tameness and purity. There are beautiful natural gardens of neem and other trees on the banks of the river. To sit under their cool shade, when the fresh breeze is blowing over the place from the bosom of Mother Jamuna, is to enjoy heaven itself. He was charmed with the place, stayed on the banks of the river for a fortnight, made the dry sand his bed and seat for the night. The dry sand his bed and seat for the night, and the shade of the trees a little above his resting place for the day. Moonlit nights here were all bewitching. The very air seemed to be charged with the presence of that love incarnate Shrikrishna. And when soft breezes were blowing, they seemed to be carrying into Ramdasa's ears the maddening music of Shrikrishna's flute and the silvery sound of the tinkling tiny bells of his blessed dancing feet. Now and again a deep, soft, resonant voice would travel in the air, Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam. Ramdas lived here in a state of complete ecstasy and rapture. Days passed by unconsciously. The whole stay seemed to be one long drawn, sweet, pleasant dream. At Vrindavan, he visited many Krishna mandirs, of which the Raghunatha Mandir is a huge and picturesque structure. It resembles a fortress enclosed by high, massive walls. The gateway and the interior building and roofs are all made of stone, artistically carved. The command came at last from Ram to quit. Returning to Mathura, he got into a train directed by the friends of the place. So he elaborately discusses about Mathura, Gokul and Vrindavan. So here the answer is very clear. Though the aim is to get stabilized in the Nirguna, Nirvikara, Nirakara aspect, we also slowly try to accept the Saguna, Sakara, Savikara aspect of Lord and enjoy both, not getting stuck to one. Both. So even through a form, and in Papa's case, even prior to taking up this, his Ishta Devata was Lord Krishna. Though he was able to transcend beyond all forms and get himself stabilized, still that old habit enabled him to draw the needed sweetness, the companionship of that form. Anything else?
Should we view Lord Krishna as a power or as a God in human form?
Both we can assume. He is the power. He is the nameless, formless power, assumed for our sake the name and form. Because you and I have got a name and form. It is very difficult straight away to dwell on a nameless, formless, abstract thing. Though abstract is the reality, to reach that we need name and form for some time to come. That is how the concept of avatars, incarnations came. Both are valid.
Swamiji, it is very hard to believe that the indweller is passing through all these experiences of, let us say, like rape, plunder, loot, being born as a leper, begging, stealing, and enjoying it.
It is hard to believe that the indweller is passing through all these leprosy, difficulties.
Why it is difficult to know? We are trying to understand through our limited intellect, whereas he is unlimited. The example is this. Suppose we look from our present level, we can hardly accommodate 50 or 60 people and the objects. But when we go to the terrace, it widens. We will be able to see more and more, not merely from our level. When we go to a mountain, it's widened to a greater extent. And from the aircraft, when you see, when the satellite, so at this moment it is difficult. But when we raise ourselves to higher levels, the same individual experiences a wide spectrum. It's a truth, Sitting from here, my knowledge level is limited. But when I raise myself, it gets expanded. My puny intellect cannot travel beyond certain things. But the moment I raise myself to a higher level, even on a physical plane, I find more and more can be seen. So if I can raise from the mental level, that one which is behind the mind, That is how the real love comes, absence of otherness. Even to the known and the unknown. Known and the unknown in our mind, There it is, the known and unknown is not there. Everybody is a form. So known and unknown comes only because the mind defines. So when we go beyond the boundaries of the mind, there is no known and unknown, everybody becomes ours. So that is why we find it difficult to understand this sublime truth.
How wisdom learning comes from the wisdom learning?
How wisdom comes? Pranish.
Wisdom is an outcome of our efforts. When we keep on reading, when we keep on contemplating, when we keep on integrating with our common run of life, then comes the wisdom. So it is an outcome. It is not that wisdom we can learn from college, universities. So it is an outcome. Okay.
Also, Swamiji, in my own life, I find that I had some very bad times. Now, when I look back, I can kind of narrate that in a kind of amusing manner. But while I was suffering earlier, while I was going through that tough year, it was really very sad.
So when he has passed through difficult times, at that time he found it very difficult. Now he can narrate it in
Exactly.
an way.
Because at that time we were viewing it from the individual level. Papa himself was passing through the severest trial. That is why he named it in the first chapter. He was passing through terrible stress. He was struggled on in a world full of chaos, anxieties, pains. It was a period of terrible stress and restlessness, all of his own making. That means from his level. From the me and mine level, yes, it is valid. It is too much to bear. Only when we raise ourselves, there is a purpose behind it. Everyone has to pay a price to buy something, to gain something, to achieve something. And this paying means what? Some withdrawal, some denial, self-denial, self-inflicted discipline, self-imposed disciplines, which are all painful. And without our involvement, God sees to it that so many things are imposed on us. At that time, from the individual level, it becomes unbearable for me. But if I keep on thinking about it, I am God's child. I am perfectly under His care. He will not leave me, though He gives me unbearable pain. Ultimately, He will relieve me from all these. Suppose it is there, getting there in the subconscious state, it gives a cushioning effect. And later on, He comes out of it. That is why Bhagavan, when he was subjected to, or he was in a position without any anesthesia, he was able to offer his hand for surgical intervention. So many such instances are there. Not that the pain is not there, but they will be able to raise themselves from above the pain. Pain will be there. Previously we thought pain is unbearable because we were viewing it from the bodily level, from the mental level, from the intellectual level. But now when we go a little higher than these levels, though the pain is there, we also take it as a part of the nature. Somebody is leading a healthy life, suddenly he develops, diarrhea or loose motion. He takes medicine and he becomes all right. Or a headache or fever. He takes medicine. He doesn't make a big fuss about it. That means he is in a position to raise himself. You and I are doing it. Only when extremities come, we are unable to bear. You and I don't make a big fuss whenever we get something, There may be cold, there may be fever, there may be ache. Suppose we get fractured, the pain will be there, we will not make. We know that a fractured pain will definitely. So we may tell a doctor, give me some painkiller. But we have seen many people who are in a position to bear this pain. That means what is happening? Bear this pain means what? It's a painful when we view it from the bodily level. When we view it from a little higher level, about which we may not be able to explain, but we have that experience. We are in a position to endure it, shami. The capacity to endure the pain comes. One minute from this group. Huh?
When I see and hear the supreme power, when I see and hear the supreme power going through so much suffering, and I'm supposed to be dependent on the supreme power, and I see the supreme power going through so much suffering, it just makes me so scared because there is a mortal. I can't even imagine what's in store for me. So how do I change this fear into strength? Because it's scary to see this happening to the ultimate power.
It may be difficult to apply something when you are actually on the field. But when you are now free, we start thinking about all these aspects. Body is subject to disease. God has beautifully said these 200 odd organs. For some reasons, it gets derailed and the pain starts. Suppose we become aware of this. When you buy a vehicle from the showroom, first class, after some use, it develops some trouble. When you go there, one trouble goes, another trouble comes. We don't make a fuss. Vehicle is like that. How many kilometers does run, we ask, Naturally, it has gone through ups and downs, so wear and tear will be there. We don't make much a big fuss, though we may shout at the workshop man. Honestly, we know that it has done its job. Similarly, we also know that this body has been given to us. It is subject to wear and tear. Because of lack of immunity, it would have gathered some viral. Naturally, it has to go through that suffering. All these things, when we are relatively in a healthy position, in a passive position, sattvic mode, suppose we keep on bringing this idea into our own. Body is subject to wear and tear. Body is subject to wear and tear. Then, at the time of suffering, we may be able to hold on. Otherwise, as you said, it will be difficult. So we have to keep on thinking about it.
Swamiji, what I was trying to say, maybe I'm not able to put it in the right manner, but sometimes when a person faces an accident,
No.
and loses his hand, and he doesn't know it, that time it doesn't pay.
Sometimes when they lose one, let's say, limb, there is no pain. I have also seen something. Absolutely. Even our
There are instances that a person has lost one wing, one particular part, and still he is not able to realize the pain. And other people are scared, surprised how he is not able to feel the pain. So similarly, I have seen, I have hurt my leg and I don't remember why and how I got this pain or something. But is that really possible? I know such incidents, instances, examples we read from books, that such transcendental plane is existing in consciousness, which is far beyond the physical consciousness. But how is it when we dwell in physical? There are different states of mind, consciousness, which is mental, vital, psychic, then the soul. But then how do I travel? Because I live by my body. So what she was asking, the feeling pain, pleasure, all this is the waves. Then the soul is far away, maybe the deeper. The more I go inside, the more I realize about it. But is it a transitional experience, or it is really possible, as you said, Bhagavan didn't allowed him to have the operation.
But he said pain is there.
In that condition, there will be pain and there will be still the capacity to hear it, or he won't feel the pain.
No, what we have understood from their teachings, and with whatever little experience God has given us, pain is there, pain becomes bearable. That means we accept it as a part of the nature. Pain will be there, because that is when you pinch like this, it pains, because the skin immediately registers when there is any rupture anywhere. It pains. But as you said, when an accident takes place, for a short while, for a very short while, it doesn't exist. I met with an accident. It was a hit and run. I was riding the motorbike. The jeep came and hit. I was thrown out. The moment I fell down from the bike, in order that there should not be any head injury, I lifted the head. Then I thought I would get up. There is no pain. Suddenly I saw the leg is not moving, this one, because the fracture is there. Oh, then they said, no, don't do. Then another vehicle came, took me there, put it there, and then was taken to the hospital. By the time the pain had started, and there was severe pain here, this also had damaged, fracture here and here. So when we reached, the surgeon asked, we know him very well, I said, this is okay, bearable. This seems to be not bearable. We were telling. We explained to him about the entire accident, how it happened. And then he said, okay, let us see, take an X-ray. And by the time we moved to the X-ray room, the pain was becoming unbearable, especially this side. And somehow he took the X-ray, and then we remember, that was in 84, he still used the word, Swami, this is okay, this is nasty. Even today we cannot lift beyond this. So the pain, at the moment there was no pain. But in the shortest possible time, the derailment has taken place. And then surgical intervention was necessary. So immediately they put a here and there, plaster, story goes on. So the pain is there, but we were able to bear it. Not crying or weeping or anything like that. It has happened, yes, we knew it was a fracture there, it was a fracture here. Fracture will definitely produce pain. And then it took about 2-3 months for us to become mobile. It is not that the pain is not there. Pain becomes bearable. In the sense, at that time we did not realize, but now we can definitely realize that we were able to go beyond the pain. The sense, natural, it is natural to have any derailment will have its own. God has given us a wonderful setup, and if there is any derailment, He will cause the pain. And He also treats us from outside through medical science to the medical doctor and ease the pain. So we can see for ourselves. For a moment, yes. And even after amputating, one leg of a person, our Puja Swamiji's brother, he also met with an accident, and then there was no alternative except to amputate. And he was living on crutches. So one day, he is also an homeopath. A lot of medicines will be there. We used to go and see him once in 15 days. Very lovable person. So one day when we went, he said, you take this medicine from the chest. I immediately asked, what for? He said, I feel irritation on the feet of my left leg. I looked at him, you have no left leg. It has been amputated, don't you know that? You have to teach me that it has been amputated? Oh. Do I not know that? Then why are you asking the medicine? Then he said, I am feeling it, that's why I am telling. Give me that medicine. And it is called phantom pain. For the first time I heard in my life that homeopathy also treats phantom pain. So an extended one, though physically it is not there, he was able to feel the presence of their feet and the irritation, some itching. So anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Swamiji,
Now the question is whether we are in a position to raise ourselves to a higher level. Endurance, according to us now, is when you are in a position to raise yourself from the bodily level,
sure.
mental level, automatically we will be blessed with this capacity to endure. Sukha dukkha sukha kshami, in 12th standard, 12th chapter, Bhagavan defines who is my dearest devotee. He says, Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karuna evaja nirmamo nirahankara samadukka sukha kshami. Kshami means that, endurance. Who is in a position to endure, not immediately screaming, crying, weeping. The endurance capacity. It's all. We are in a position to raise ourselves to a higher level. Suppose a lizard comes to Shruti, now we should see how she behaves.
Lizard, okay, Swamiji.
Eh?
Snake, suddenly snakes come.
The moment they think, they that means we are still at the bodily level. Somebody said something,
Swamiji, get to 4 o'clock is the pain or pleasure?
Huh?
Huh? 4 o'clock.
Getting early is the 4 o'clock
Is
is the
it,
pain or pleasure for all.
getting up at 4 o'clock, is it painful or pleasurable?
You define, no? If we are committed, it will be a pleasure.
Yes.
If you are committed to yogic exercise or some spiritual exercise, you will be upset if you don't get up at 4 o'clock. And if you are committed, automatically you don't need an alarm. You will get up. So it's all relative.
Swamiji, what is the difference between pain and realize, Swamiji?
Pain and
Realize. Huh?
Yes, pain and realize. What is the
Pain and realize it.
I can't understand your question. Pain, you know.
What is the question?
Huh?
Swamiji,
Ah.
if you get pain, it makes me to want, don't do this again. If you do again, you will get pain. But is there any difference? Either to realize.
If I have
Realize means what? How did I get into this? Who am I? You can interpret it in any way you want. Suppose you want to know who really you are, and when we reach that stage, it's called realization, ultimate realization of who really I am. If that is what you mean, that is the ultimate one. Pain comes, we have been given a body, we have been given a mind, and we have been given an intellect. There are certain things that go smoothly. When that smoothly gets disturbed, the smoothness gets disturbed, then pain comes. At the bodily level, we don't need any teaching. Suppose a thorn pricks, suppose you fall down, suppose you get fever, suppose you get headache, suppose you get body pain, toothache, earache, headache, we have some idea. So these are all pains. Mental, whenever we expect something, it doesn't go well, we get shocked, we are mentally, so there are, all these things are there. But suppose when we realize that this has been given, this equipment has got its own nature, so I am nothing to do with their nature, that is realization. But why do we unnecessarily break all these things? All these things are rational. It will not help us, to be very frank. Let us try to do whatever we can in our own sadhana and try to move from stage A to stage B to stage C, instead of thinking about stage Z now. Because it will be only an academic exercise.
Swamiji,
Ah.
Swamiji,
Ah.
to stay at a higher level mentally, how do we do that in our daily life, like in office and all? Is it that we should practice every time going to the source, like with whom we are interacting, try to tell ourselves that the life force is within and he is acting through this person? Or how should we stay at the higher level in our daily life when we face the challenges?
Every day, all of us are going through, all of us are blessed with going a little higher. When we try to remember that, we become aware of what is raising ourselves to a little higher. For example, I tell you, you keep your room perfectly clean. And some visitor comes, or some neighbor comes, boys or somebody, and they vomit but suddenly. You will take him into task. They have no manners. You should have told us if you have got that nausea. We would have taken to the bathroom. We will make such a big fuss. Suppose it is our own grandchild. Suppose our father, our mother, our dear one. When they are sitting, suddenly they vomit. What do we do? Do we make such a same act? But we don't feel aversion. We don't find fault with. We don't make a mess of it. We don't make a fuss of it. We immediately, don't worry. We clean him and take him to another place. We ourselves clean the vomit and do it. So we have raised ourselves higher than the physical level. Like that, you and I are given. It is not a supernatural thing. You and I are given wherever the love is given. So love is the one which makes us to raise higher, higher, higher. We will tolerate everything. To an outsider, we will not tolerate. We will view it from the body, mind, intellect level. But when we raise ourselves to a higher level, means when our love embraces them, we will be able to tolerate everything. That is what is called raising ourselves. More and more accommodating not only me and mine, the quality, care and concern of as many creations of His. At least one, then two, then three, then four, like that. At one stroke, we may not be able to embrace the whole creation. But 1%, 2%, 3%, 5%, this is what we are trying to raise ourselves from our present level. You start thinking about it. In your own life, God has blessed you to deal with. Suppose, we are talking now. Suppose one child cries. What will you say? Take the child. It is disturbing us. But suppose it is our own child, we will request the audience, please 1 minute, the child needs something. I will just go satisfy them and then come back here. See the difference? So wherever the love is, we will be able to accommodate. We will be able to tolerate. And wherever there is no love, we will be viewing it purely from the body, mind, intellect level. So as we keep on progressing, as we said, during the past moments, Sattvic moments like this, when all these thoughts come to us, we keep on going through our own life. We parade before our own life. What all God gave us, made us to pass through, and how did we react? At that time, we did not understand. We only thought, it was not a disturbance. In some case, we named it as a disturbance. In some case, we named it as a loss. In some case, we named it as a gain. In sometimes, we called it as irritating. In sometimes, we say, it is soothening. Oh, so what happened then? Then I try to analyze. In a disturbed mind, you cannot. When you are actually on that, you cannot. But during the past moment, suppose we keep on analyzing, suddenly we become aware, God within us facilitated us to tolerate something, not to tolerate something. So that we will know the difference between how to tolerate. And then now we try to understand. If we are in a position to expand our love circle, we will be able to free ourselves from many of the miseries or troubles or irritations or disturbance. Think about it. You will realize for yourself.
Swamiji, one incident about paying from when we went to office, that time That time while entering in the office, that time I have to access my ID card. So suddenly I follow somebody in the office. While working, suddenly I follow and got just induced. In case I got induced. So that time I have very work is there.
I am unable to hear. Pranesh, you send it through email. Email.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Swami.
Okay.
Okay.
You send it through email.
Okay, Swami.
Even ordinarily, I have hearing problem, and somebody has to hear. They also find it difficult to interpret. Okay. Then, anyway, at least today, people are opening up their mouth. Very good. So there is a two-way traffic, not one-way traffic. Then only it becomes lively. Otherwise, it is monotonous. So let the same. Tomorrow is Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow we will have holiday. And day after tomorrow when we come, be prepared for these interactive sessions. Go through whatever we have done, jot down, and then ask. Even if you are convinced, you ask, because it will be useful for others and for me. So like that, it will be useful. Interactive session will be helpful for everybody. A new dimension will be contemplated upon, thought upon, dwelt upon, and it will pave the way for more and more clarity. Okay? Hari Om. Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.